Hello, my name is Ryan, and you're listening to the CrimeCast. In this show, we will talk about true crime cases, unsolved mysteries, and cryptid creatures from all over the world, from the mountains of the Himalayas to the suburbs of Los Angeles. And welcome to the 17th episode and part 8 of me covering some of the most haunted locations in almost every US state. In today's episode, we were heading to Pennhurst State School and Hospital, located in Pennsylvania. And yes, I'm back. We don't talk about my hiatuses anymore. They're just gonna happen. I'm that bad at being a fucking, YouTuber, podcaster, whatever you want to call me. Yeah, but let's get into it. Don't sniff that. I have my dog in my lap now. History. In 1903, Pennsylvania legislators would authorize the creation of Pennhurst, though originally called the Eastern Pennsylvania State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic. This institution, located in Spring City, Pennsylvania, alongside a commission, was created to house those who were feeble-minded, now known as people with intellectual disabilities, and people who had epilepsy or were epileptic. The organization would find around 1,146 feeble-minded people living in insane asylums / hospitals, and 2,627 living in charitable housing, county care hospitals, reformatories, and prisons. Those people then would be transported to Pennhurst. After the first buildings were built, legislation noted that the buildings would be separated into two groups. Group 1 included educational and industrial departments where these people were able to get an education and learn some hard skills and maybe be able to work. Maybe. That's the key, is maybe. And Group 2, the custodial or asylum department, which is where they would live. Alongside these two groups, the institution could hold no fewer than 500 patients. Now, this is a very important thing to note at the beginning, but we'll get into that in a minute. The first patients. When it first opened on November 23rd, 1908, the institution sat on around 112 acres. The first buildings, now known as Lower Campus, were given just letters to identify them, but we do know what some of them were. Some of these first buildings included girls' dining hall, kitchen, and storeroom, with 3 buildings dedicated to the girls' cottages, boys' dining room, teacher's home, and 4 buildings dedicated to the boys' cottage, a school, and both the temporary and permanent administration buildings. The opera campus would start being built in the 1930s. This part would later be known as the female colony, where most of the women would be kept. As stated before, the first patient, known as patient number 1, was admitted on November 23rd, 1908, but just 4 years later, Pennhurst became overcrowded. Alongside being overcrowded, they were being pressured to admit immigrants, orphans, and criminals, not just people who were feeble-minded or were epileptic now. Alongside the overcrowdedness, people were being categorized and segregated even more in Pennhurst than before. Segregation. When a patient, as they were called, were first admitted to Pennhurst, they would be immediately categorized. These categories included mental, in which you were either an imbecile or insane, physical, in which either you had epilepsy or you were healthy, and dental, which either was good dental care, poor dental care, or you were able to be treated when admitted. In 1913, legislators appointed a commission for the care of the feeble-minded. This stated, quote, "Disabled people were unfit for citizenship and posed a menace to the peace, and recommended a program for custodial care," end quote. Due to this statement, the commission now had a new desire. That desire was to prevent the intermixing of the genes of those imprisoned, referring to those already in Pennhurst, with the general public. Basically, they did not want to have these people who were admitted into Pennhurst mingling with the general population and having babies. In a report to the legislation, Pennhurst's chief physician took a quote from leading eugenicist at the time, Henry H. Goddard, about feeble-minded people. Goddard said, quote, "Every feeble-minded person is a potential criminal. The general public, although more convinced today than ever before that it is a good thing to segregate the idiot or the distant imbecile, they have not as yet been convinced as to the proper treatment of the defected delinquent, which is brighter and more dangerous, which is the brighter and more dangerous individual." Basically, this Henry guy is calling um, these people who are being admitted into Pennhurst criminals. From the moment Pennhurst's doors opened until 1916, both men and women would have been housed together. Huge problem. Huge fucking problem. This, of course, changed, but this left both many children sent to Pennhurst and kids, of course, born into Pennhurst living with these adults, because I don't think they even created a children's ward yet at this point. The conditions. Here's your trigger warning. If you don't want to hear the conditions / the turning point, which kind of led Pennhurst to be shut down, I suggest skipping this part. Go down to the timestamps below so you know when to get to the next part. As stated before, Pennhurst was overcrowded. Alongside being overcrowded, they were understaffed greatly. And many of the patients' families and the public, most notably the Association of Retarded Citizens, ARC, started to question the condition of the asylum in the 1940s. Now, some patients were actually able to see family because, the family couldn't take care of them, so that's why they sent them to Pennhurst. So they were able to have some regular visits with family, and the family started questioning, like, "Hey, I heard this was a great place to send my loved one because they have epilepsy, but these conditions are terrible." But of course, there was nothing done about it. Alongside public concern, some workers started to speak up about the conditions. A staff member spoke up and recounted that her, alongside other staff members, would volunteer their time on Saturdays and Sundays to clean the residence. Now, usually Saturday and Sundays were their days off, so they are taking care of these patients on their day off because that's how understaffed they were. They weren't getting paid to clean them and bathe them. They did it out of the fucking goodness of their hearts. During the holidays, some staff even allowed patients whose families had forgotten about them to come live with them, basically to give them a sense of family normalcy. Now, although some of the staff members were caring, some weren't. The patients whose families did visit them saw their loved ones covered in bruises and looked, quote, "uncared for," end quote. Staff members, due to being overworked, would drug patients, leaving them in a comatose-like state. Basically, it was a way to ignore them. If they aren't doing much, then I don't have to do much as an employee. The turning point. The turning point for Pennhurst would be the release of a 5-part TV docuseries called Suffer the Little Children. Now, I don't want to get copyrighted for showing these footages, and also they're very disgusting, but if you want to look up this docuseries, please fucking see the actual horrors of these. I'm not trying to go into fucking huge detail, but this is just putting it lightly, like what I'm saying. The series was produced by Bill Baldwin in 1968. The footage showed the real horrors of Pennhurst, with the most notable footage showing children, half-clothed, walking around aimlessly. Basically, this notable clip is showing that the children are being neglected, and it's showing the proof that they were being drugged to be more in a comatose-like state, or even just from clear neglect. They're just shadows, basically, just walking around. Not real. Now, the real push to close down Pennhurst wouldn't happen until 1977, when U.S. District Judge Raymond J. Broderick ruled that, quote, "the conditions at Pennhurst State School violated patients' constitutional rights, end quote. Now, during this trial, Time magazine would release an article in 1981 that described the conditions of Pennhurst as having, quote, a history of being understaffed, dirty, and violent. So even from the start, they were understaffed, and people just brushed it off and kept adding patients, even if they weren't even supposed to be in those buildings. People were being ruled out as, yeah, you have you're insane, you have to stay here, type shit. God. In 1983, 9 employees would be indicted on charges ranging from slapping and beating patients, including some in wheelchairs, to arranging for patients to assault each other. So basically, they would set up boxing fights for these patients, which is just fucking pure disgustingness to me. Though, like I said, though, I will link, if I can find a clip, a video, even the whole documentary stuff with the little children, I will put it in the description. If not, I suggest looking up that at your own risk, if you don't want to be like, if you are triggered by that type of stuff. The final straw. The final straw for Pennhurst would be the Halderman case, also known as Pennhurst State School and Hospital versus Halderman. This case would lead to Pennhurst finally closing their doors in 1987. Now, before we get into the hauntings, I just want to say this is fucking insane that it took almost 90 years for them to realize, like, hey, patients are being abused. Not even like abused, but like it's overcrowded, understaffed, poor living conditions, all of this stuff. Now, I tried looking into the Halderman case. I really couldn't find much about it. Just it's this case that happened that caused Pennhurst to shut down. But it's kind of sad that it took like a literal court case to like close them down. And the fact that only 9 employees got indicted for charges ranging from slapping and beating patients to basically arranging them to fight each other is insane to me. The hauntings. Now, Pennhurst is called by locals who live by the facility the Shame of Pennsylvania. Now, they named this due to the abuse that had taken place on that facility for so many years. Now, this abuse also seemed to have a negative energy that has imprinted on the facility. Caretakers have reported hearing slamming doors, disembodied footsteps and voices, sounds of vomiting and crying, and some report hearing children playing coming from the empty rooms on the property. Now, the 2 most haunted buildings, according to guests and visitors, is the Quaker and Limerick building. The Quaker building is located on the lower campus of Pennhurst and was used for 2 different reasons. Now, this building was first built between 1903 and 1908, so it was there right from the beginning, and was first used as a cottage for boys, basically a boys' dormitory, and was called Building Q. The second reason seemed to have been after the building's name changed to the Quaker building, and was used to house lower functioning wards. So it continued to be used as a housing facility on the property, but just for 2 different reasons. The Limerick building, or Building L, would be opened in 1919, and we're actually kind of unsure like what this was used for, but I have my theories once you hear the hauntings that take place in the Limerick building. The Quaker building is actually a hot spot for paranormal activity, so if you ever go there on a tour, they will take you to the Quaker building. I'm acting like I've been there. I've never been to Pennhurst, I've just seen videos. Anyways, so the Quaker building, it's a hot spot for paranormal activity. Caretakers, visitors, and tour guides have reported seeing shadow figures and full-body apparitions. One of the most frequently seen spirits in the building is that of a little girl. When seen, she looks lost and confused. Some have described her as being a full-body apparition with long black hair and long dangling arms. Not to be rude to this little girl, but honey, that's Y'all are describing this ghost as the ring girl, and I don't fuck with that. No. Like, I don't care if it's a cute little girl, but I will say, I don't know if I mentioned this, me and a couple friends went to the Rolling Hill Asylum here in New York. A little boy said my name. He full on went Ryan, and I full on shat my fucking pants almost, because why is there a little kid saying my fucking name? Like, go fuck yourself. Don't, but like, nah, I don't fuck with that. Anyways, in the Limelight building, people have reported seeing a nurse dressed in her old style uniform. So this makes people believe that maybe it was like, not people, this makes me believe that this could have been a hospital, but the nurse seems to be very much in charge of the lime brick building, and it's best not to piss her off. Now, it's believed most of the spirits still roaming the Pennhurst halls are friendly and just want to communicate, just want somebody to talk to, because they basically were neglected when they lived at Pennhurst. But during the years of abandonment, it's believed satanic worship occurred on the property and possibly brought an evil spirit onto the property. But others, like I said before, kind of believe that maybe the abuse left a negative energy, or maybe a spirit like manifested. Who knows? Some paranormal investigators believe that there could be two main evil entities of Pennhurst. Both entities live/have been seen in the Mayflower building, or Building M. The first being a doctor who worked at the facility, Dr. Jesse G. Fear. The second being a maintenance man who was given the name the King. Why do we have Dr. Fear and the King? It's giving Batman villains, low-key. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. That was so rude. But it is. Anyways, Dr. Fear was the resident head physician of Pennhurst during the production of Suffer the Little Children. And he admitted during an interview with the producer, some of the patients' practices, he admitted to some of the practices he used on the patients. And these practices were not correct. They were fucked up. Dr. Fear's spirit is said to haunt the upper floors of the Mayflower building, with paranormal investigators believing he is controlling the spirits of the building, and or the spirits are afraid of him. Investigators have caught EVPs of patients warning them of Dr. Fear. The second evil entity, as I stated before, is known as the King. It's believed that he is the spirit of a maintenance man who worked at Pennhurst during the 40s and 50s. He is also seen in the Mayflower building, but mainly in the basement by the boiler room. Those who go down there have reported seeing a shadow figure, believed to be the King, and being choked. During EVP sessions, he will only answer questions asked by female investigators, but if you get an EVP or a voice telling you to leave, you better get the fuck out of there.
Again, this was the worst hall, is what they said. They said the worst energy. And they put the bad, what they would call the bad patients, the most aggressive, the most abusive towards other patients, they would put in this hall. Did they chain you to pieces of furniture in here? Speak to us, tell us something. What did they used to do to you? Hit. It just said hit.
Right now?
Yeah, do you see that, Aaron?
Yeah, hit.
It says hit.
Is that what they did in here? They would torture you? They hit you?
Who spoke to us? What is your name? What do you like to do? Huh? Alright, Nick, come on. They used to do things to you in here?
Jesus. You alright? Did it get you? Bad? Put it up.
I didn't even see this thing here.
I didn't see it at all. How the hell is it just there all of a sudden?
Do you have a camera? Yeah. Roll on your camera. Let Nick rewind the footage. I want to see where this was. Do you not like being in here?
When do we go in the room? Right now, yeah.
Coming up.
Let me see.
That's it right there. That's it right there. Look at it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's on the other side of the wall.
That's crazy.
It's on the other side of the wall.
Dude.
This thing, we just reviewed the footage. This was right here.
That's crazy.
Against the other opposite side of the wall. We walked into here. There was nothing on this wall.
Yeah, I was backing out.
You were backing out. Nick was backing out. This thing had to have been lifted up, which is very heavy, carried over here, and then
Almost hit me in the head.
almost hit you in the head, and then boom. And we replayed the footage, and it was right here. It was right freaking here.
That's crazy.
Dude.
Who did that? Right after I asked that question, this camera's audio picked up this response. Who did that? So you're not going to be nice to us?
And that was episode 17 of the CrimeCast and part 8 of me covering haunted locations in some of the US states. In this episode, we talked about Pennhurst State School and Hospital. And in our next episode, we will head down south to South Carolina and talk about the old Charleston City Jail. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm back. I'm going to try to get this episode out by Halloween. If not, then you know I lied. But I'm recording this on October 17th. Hopefully I get it out either next week Friday or on Halloween. We will see. If I don't, then I don't.